Welcome, everyone, to BIBO's Winners Circle, where winning is always a part of the conversation. I'm Tracy S. Campbell. I am so glad to have you guys back joining us for another week. And I have to thank you all for supporting this show each and every week. We really appreciate you. And for those of you that are joining us for the very first time, well, you know that, well, you don't know, I'm going to tell you, our mission every week is to bring you actionable, I use that word a lot, actionable advice and inspiration and motivation that's going to keep you on the winning side. That is our goal. That is our mission each and every week. Now, today, of course, I have another great person joining us here in the Winner's Circle, and her mission, of course, is to keep you on the winning side also, and her industry is hair, makeup, beauty. Ladies, you should love this conversation tonight. We're going to talk about embracing your natural beauty and embracing that through makeup. And also we're going to talk about, we all struggle with our hair getting out the door every morning. Well, this lady has a business that's going to make all of that a lot easier. Join me in welcoming the awesome Raquel Robertson. Raquel, thank you for being here in the Winner's Circle tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited to share some of my tips with the people on this call today. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. We're glad that you're here. And again, I know that you have an industry that I think a lot of the folks here on Win Win Women Network and beyond Win Women Network can relate to, because as women, we are always not satisfied with our hair, our makeup. We're rushing, we're moms, we're entrepreneurs, we're wives, we're all these different things. And it just makes for a very hectic lifestyle for most women. I think ladies, I know a lot of you can agree. And so what is it, Raquel, about hair, makeup, beauty? We'll just use that word. What is it about the beauty industry that made you decide this is the path that I want to forge in my career, in my entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. Growing up, I used to always do hair. I used to do my hair, my siblings' hair, and thank goodness for them, because they were going to school looking crazy, but I was able to get some practice in. And I think that really made me find the joy, because they were often happy after I did their hair, no matter how it looked. They appreciated that it was done. And so after going to cosmetology school, I fell in love with makeup as well. I didn't grow up loving makeup or doing makeup a lot, but after attending cosmetology school, I was like, okay, these are the perfect combo. And I want it to be natural, because that's who I am. I don't want to spend 30 minutes to an hour on my makeup when I do my makeup, or if I'm leaving every day, because like you said, we as women are always busy doing a ton of different things. So right. That's where, natural, very natural comes in. And then I also think about wedding days or special events. Most people want to look and feel like themselves. And so that's really where the natural aspect comes in, as far as like hair and makeup. And then as far as like the hair accessories, it's intended to be a time saver, but you can still look and feel your best, throwing on your favorite scarf, throwing on your favorite headband. And so those are the ways that I'm able to say, like, okay, I can still feel confident, even though I don't have enough time to do all of those things in the morning.
I love that. I love that. And I like what you just said, Raquel, about you can still feel confident without having to spend 2 hours in front of the mirror getting your hair and makeup done. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's rare. Yep. It's rare that we have that amount of time. So I commend you for feeling a need, Raquel, because I think a lot of women can relate to this. I think now more than ever, a lot of women can relate to this in the day that we're living in. So I commend you for that. Now, I was reading your bio, Raquel, and I like to pull out things. And what struck me is when you said that you are an advocate of natural beauty, natural makeup, and you're also an advocate of convenient hairstyles, convenient ways for us to do our hair. Why are these two concepts, natural beauty, convenient hair, why are these so important to you? And why do you feel that, okay, this is an area that I need to contribute to?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm natural. And when I say natural, I mean like curly hair, no relaxer, anything of that sort. And so for me, the natural hair can often take a lot of time if we perceive it that
Yes.
way. You know, it can take hours on wash day or
Oh, yeah.
and so I consider myself like a lazy natural. And so I tend to gravitate towards styles that are convenient, right? And it's going to save me time, but then I'm still going to look cute and chic. And so that's kind of where that piece of being natural hair, that's kind of where rock natural stemmed from, but also in a way that's like natural makeup. You know, you're not having on tons of makeup, and so it goes back to saving time. You know, you really want to find tips and tricks that are convenient, but you're saving time while doing it and still feeling like your best self.
I love that. I love that. And I love the play on your name, Rock Natural
Very
Industries. I love
unique.
it. RAQ, Rock Natural. I love that. And I agree with you. I can feel your pain on wash day being a natural. It's a lot of work, right? So it's a lot of work. And I think that women, especially women of color that are watching, you guys know, especially if you're natural, you know, beautiful end result. It takes a long time to get there though sometimes. And to be able to embrace that and still look polished and still look confident and still look attractive is phenomenal. And again, I commend you for branching out and doing this work. Now, there are those that are watching us, Raquel, that may say, well, okay, this is great. She found something that she can relate to because she's a natural. And when it comes to hair, makeup, she believes in that. She found that I'm struggling in my business. Someone may be watching and saying, you know, I have this passion, but I don't know what to do. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started? You shared a little bit about your family members and growing up, and you started at a very young age. So you kind of knew where you were going at a young age, but many of us don't know that. And they're right now watching us, trying to get nuggets or gems, as I like to say every week, of things that they can do if they have a passion about something and they want to turn that passion into a viable business. So at this point, Raquel, I'm going to put you on the spot. We're going to ask you to give us three. You can give us more than three, but at least three gems of information, nuggets, wisdom. Maybe someone told you something that you want to share that will help someone here tonight watching that may want to forge their own path, especially in this industry that we're talking about tonight. What would you say to someone like that, Raquel?
Yeah, great question. I mean, those are always the things that stick with you, right? When you're growing your business or you're, you know, trying to succeed in life. And so for me, I would really say, look to your community. I'm currently in this stage where I'm trying to grow beyond where I'm at. And I'm like, I have so many people in my corner, so many people who want to see me win. And so really building my hair and makeup business was based off of what my community needed. A lot of the people that I knew and networked with was like, do you know anyone who do hair and makeup? Or are you able to do my hair or my makeup? And so that's really how I was able to grow my business. Just say like, okay, my community needs this. I have this skill. Let me jump into it. So listen to what your community members are saying, or, you know, utilize social media and say like, what's something that's missing, for example, in this case, in the beauty industry. And people will tell you what they need. They'll look at their own routine and say like, oh, I wish this could happen, or I wish there was somebody who did this. And that if you have that skill, that's typically a good way to say like, okay, this is something I should go into and start doing and taking more seriously. Another thing is if something isn't working, switch it up. I know we are all creatures of habit. I'm even a creature of habit.
Yes.
And it's hard to say like, oh, I built this thing and it's no longer working.
Right.
And so you like, that hurts a little bit, but you know, it's, if you want to grow beyond, you typically have to say like, okay, let's see what worked, what didn't work, and go from there. And that also goes with just getting started. If you have a passion for something, you just have to go for it. And as someone who's typically in the weeds of everything, I'm like the small things, it's hard to kind of see the big picture. And so being able to say like, okay, this worked and this didn't, and then like, how can I grow and say and learn from this? And like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to say like, next time I'm gonna do it this way. As far as like this, a good example of this is my hair accessory company. I was not in the e-commerce space at all. I didn't know anything. And I'm going into year 2 and I say like, okay, I've learned so much in the first year and this worked, this didn't, but now I know how to get to where I want to be and like take those skills, the foundation, and grow further. The last thing, and this might seem obvious, but is creating a routine around whatever it is you're trying to build, or just within your business. So if that's creating a morning routine or a night routine, there's tons of different platforms to kind of keep track of your day-to-day and what you should be doing every day for your business. And those are kind of the pieces that I like to take and say like, okay, what am I going to work on my business today? And if you have another job and you're trying to do your business on the side, this is a good way to manage and make sure that you're dedicating time to your passion to say like, okay, I'm ready to take this on full time potentially.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Raquel, and I'm going out on a limb when I'm going to guess that you are a millennial. And the reason I bring that up is because the advice that you gave for us Gen Xers and beyond, older as well, is sage advice. And I commend you for at a relatively new and young path in your entrepreneurial journey. You have really gained some nuggets of wisdom that folks older than you have not embraced. So I thank you for sharing that. And we're going to start from the top. The first thing you said was community. Embrace your community and find the need of your community. And I think that that's right there is gold, because a lot of times we want to do what we want to do, right? Let's be honest, everybody. You know, if you like something, you want to do that thing. That may or may not be the thing that's going to get you to a successful entrepreneurial journey, because you haven't filled a need where people are going to come to you instead of you running after them. And so I'm so glad that at a relatively young age, Raquel, you've realized that in your journey, and you're doing it. You're doing it. You saw that there was a need in the natural hair community, primarily for women of color or men of color, right? There's a need in the natural hair space. And then on top of that, of course, the need for, and the trend that we're seeing in makeup, where it's more natural. It's not as made up. It's not as the angles and the hard lines and all that. I mean, you're not seeing that as much as you did in previous years. So I think the fact that you saw that, you recognize that, you built your company around those two things is commendable. So everybody, make sure that you are doing your homework and you're being an observer of your community, because your goal may very well be in that observation. So I love that. And then the next thing you said was, you talked about a routine. And that's a very hard thing for a lot of people to do. And I raise my hand because I'm one of them.
Still learning.
It's hard. It's you're still learning. It's hard. You think you have a routine. You think you have something laid out that every morning I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. And then what happens? The phone rings. Or an email comes in and it throws you off if you allow it. And a lot of us allow it. So there comes that discipline that you're kind of inferring, to there, Raquel. There comes that, I'm going to stay on course as much as I can. Life happens, we know, but as much as I can, because that's going to get you to a successful business. So I really, really like that. And then the piece of advice, the gem that you just gave us, Raquel, that I think I like the best, is realizing when it's time to switch up your path. And a lot of people are very tied to their passion, or they're tied to what they think is their path, the business that they want to forge. And then they don't realize when it's time to either leave that and go off to something better, or change the way in which you're doing business. So I thank you for sharing all of those nuggets, gems of wisdom. Now, Raquel, how did you come to those sage moments? Okay, how did you get there? Now, I'm assuming it's as a result of your journey, or did you also have a mentor or someone else that was also helping you to realize these 3 gems that you gave us?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has been the experience, but then I think it goes back to the community piece. I do have a few mentors who kind of, experience and have been some of my clients. And so while I'm doing their makeup or their hair, we're having these conversations. But a lot of it does stem from just my experience.
I think that's one, and that's the best way to get it. That's all oftentimes the best way to learn what we're talking about tonight is through experience. Now let's focus, zero in, because what you gave us can apply to any industry. And everyone, I forgot, you should be taking notes on your notepad, your iPad, scribble pad, whatever you got. You should be taking notes. She gave you 3 great things already, but now we're going to zero in on the beauty and hair industry specifically. There could be someone watching right now, or will be watching the replay of this, and they may want to venture into this industry. What are some of the things that you've learned in your journey in the hair and makeup space, and especially hair and makeup in the African American or people of color sector of this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When I was first getting started, I did start as like, what do I want? Like, what do I see myself being? And it wasn't until I continued and worked with tons of people and they were like, oh, I wish there was a artist who knew how to match my foundation to my face, which is really common in like photo shoots and weddings, or women saying, oh, I wish there was an artist that did more natural makeup. And so it was the combination of seeing what was already out there. And of course, there's like tons of people who do the heavy makeup, but then you have the very small community of women, not enough, or men, I should say, and that do the natural makeup, but it was just missing where I was at, right? And so I'm from Colorado, Denver originally, and there weren't that many women of color makeup artists or hairstylists per se. And so that's where I was able to say like, okay, this is missing. Natural makeup is missing. Someone who focuses on natural hair or styles natural hair, right? Because those are like, they go hand in hand, but can be different. And so an advice that I can give to anyone who's looking to start out is say, you can either look at your own beauty routine and say like, what's something I wish I had, and go in it that way, or going back to one of my gyms and just really listening to what's in the community is saying.
You're saying exactly. And, you know, I guess sometimes a trend catches on because a celebrity decides that they're going to be fashion forward, or they're going to be avant-garde, and they're going to just go out there and just, you know, do it. And I think, and when it comes to natural makeup, natural hair, I mean, we can't have the conversation without thinking about celebrities like Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys really, even though the movement was already there, she decided, because of her, and she took her celebrity status and said, okay, we're going to really push this forward. And she made a conscious decision that, hey, I'm going to forego makeup. I'm going to forego all this complicated hair stuff, and I'm just going to be natural. Now, of course, she's naturally gorgeous, but her point was that everybody has a level of natural beauty, but we've been hiding it under makeup, or we've been hiding it under societal standards, right? What you have to look like, what you have to do. And I think when she decided to do that, it really changed the course. How do you feel about that? Do you think that she was a pivotal person, or there may be someone else that you may say, no, actually it was someone else who really spearheaded this movement, and now it's more mainstream?
Yeah, no, Alicia Keys is a really good example. I think she highlights, you know, the natural beauty and not wearing, I don't think she ever really wore tons of makeup to begin with. And so she is one of the like celebrities that I can say led that trend, but it takes a lot for someone to be comfortable, right, in their own skin and say, I don't need makeup to cover up these blemishes, or I don't need makeup every day. And sometimes it's just women wear it for confidence boost. Like even for tonight, I was debating like, oh, do I put on makeup? Do I not? Because I typically don't wear makeup on a day-to-day. And but as a walking business card.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So I do think, you know, she spearheaded part of that quote unquote trend, but I think it also let women know that it doesn't have to be a ton of makeup on. It could be very light, very skin-like. You could still look and feel like yourself with it. And so kudos to Alicia Keys.
Absolutely. So with that said, because Alicia Keys is one end of the spectrum, but you still have celebrities, because of course we all look to celebrities for a lot of the trends and things that we think we should also be doing at any given point in time. You also have the other end of the spectrum where there's that whole notion of I have to beat my face. Okay, I have to look like the Kim Kardashians of the world, the Khloe Kardashians, where
Those are who I was thinking of.
yeah. I mean, the whole total opposite end of the spectrum. So how do you feel about that? Or what are some of the things that women may say to you, Raquel, when they're sitting in your chair and you're about to get them made up for their wedding or whatever event? And, again, that you specialize in natural makeup, but what do you feel or say to those who want to look like one of the Kardashians or someone else that really goes into that whole beaded face look, if you will?
Yes, this used to be a struggle for me when I first started because I was like, I can do every type of makeup. It doesn't matter. And oftentimes they may have been disappointed because it wasn't as heavy. And I didn't realize that what I was wanting to do was actually more natural. And I think part of having a portfolio and promoting your business is that you can attract the clients that you want. And so I don't actually run into that issue a ton because anyone who reaches out to me at this point can see that I do more natural makeup and that's what they're looking for. But at the beginning, it was hard for me. And I think that's how you kind of stunt your growth if you're doing something that you may not want to be doing.
That's a great point. And with that said, I'm assuming that you've probably had all kinds of clients sitting in your chair, whether they're, 18 or much older. Do you feel that the natural makeup movement is something that you personally see more with millennials or Gen Z versus Gen X and older? Because, oftentimes women that are older may feel that I have to wear more makeup. I have to do this. I'm not 25 or 20 anymore. What do you say to someone like that? Or what have you seen in your own experience?
Yeah, that's a good point. I do feel like the Gen X or the older crowd is looking to wear more makeup because, like you said, that's just kind of how they grew up, and they're looking for maybe either the harsh liner or the really powdered look underneath the eye. And so sometimes it makes them uncomfortable, but it's on the artists themselves to almost teach the client what you're doing and how this might help their skin compared to what they've been doing. It's because they do it that way because they don't know anything different. So if you're informing them about the products you're using or how this will look in pictures, it will look better in pictures. They feel a little bit more comfortable with you taking the lead and maybe not doing it how they're used to. But I do see it more with like the older crowd.
Exactly, set in their ways, or like you said, not realizing that they can change their look and it doesn't have necessarily impact the fact that they may be older, right? So there may be ladies watching us right now that want to embrace a more natural look because they may feel that it's going to get them out the door quicker in the morning. Is that true? Is that true, Raquel? That, okay, you're going to go natural or you're going to have a natural looking makeup, if you will, but does that mean you're going to save time necessarily?
Well, the funny part is, I mean, as I say natural, like a natural look to make it look skin-like could actually take more like an hour or an hour and a half, which is the funny part. But I guess at the same time, I try to share techniques that kind of help with making it quicker. So like a 5-minute routine for the going into the office, those tips are typically helpful for people, like where to put the makeup, how much concealer to use, a little bit of powder. So like there are tips and techniques that can help speed up the process, but there will be artists who tells you that like a more natural skin-like look, especially what you see online and some of the trends, can typically take an hour to an hour and a half.
Wow. And that's the irony, right? Because someone will say, if it's going to take me an hour or an hour and a half to do that, I may as well just go back to my normal routine, which takes me 15, 20 minutes and get out the door. Right. So, but I like the fact that obviously you've had clients that are younger, older, you've learned along the way and you've helped other people learn that your age doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot embrace a natural look. But again, I also like the fact that you're being honest with us tonight and saying, hey, just because it looks natural doesn't mean that it takes you 5 minutes. It could take you an hour. It could take you more, right? So that's important to know. What would you say to someone watching us right now that is trying to get that confidence up in order to not hide behind so much makeup, or hide behind the same hairstyle they've had for 20 years? What would you say to someone, giving them sage advice that they should embrace or take to heart if they want to change up their look?
Yeah, that's a good question. The first thing I think of is starting small. You know, any sudden large change can seem like a lot. So if you go from wearing tons of makeup to wearing no makeup, you know, out the house, like that can seem really scary. But maybe you start with wearing less lipstick or trying to go a little bit lighter on the concealer progressively. And like the progress of using less will help build that confidence compared to a very sudden, like, okay, let me just take this all away and see if I can leave the house like that.
No, I think that's smart. I think that's smart. Start small. I mean, we've told people to do that in so many other aspects of business. Why not apply it to your person and start small and gradually? And at some point, you're going to find where you're comfortable, where you're not comfortable, and develop kind of your own look, I suspect.
Yep, exactly.
Fantastic. Well, Raquel, I know we're coming up very close on the Q&A portion of this, which is of course my favorite part of the show. But right now, if someone's been watching us and they've been enjoying this conversation and they feel that you've enlightened them in some way, shape, or form, and they want to probe your brain a little bit more, they want to ask more questions, what is the best way that they can get in touch with you, Raquel?
Yeah, I mean, they can find, if you're into watching tutorials or listening to me talk and share tips, you can find me on Instagram at RAQ_natural. And then you can also reach me by email if you have questions, which is rocknatural@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And do you have anything on the horizon, Raquel, that we should know about when it comes to your business, whether it's the makeup side of things or the hair accessory side of things, because you have great hair accessories that'll help us look fabulous and not take forever. Do you have anything coming up that we should know about?
Yeah. Ooh, okay. You guys you're getting the exclusive, you're getting the end, but the hair accessory brand is really moving towards a travel on the go, style on the go brand. And so we're coming out with some really convenient bags that you'll be able to use and store all of your hair accessories and your hair products, making it easy for you to take everywhere with you, saving time and still being fashionable.
Love it. Love it. And that's kind of your mantra, right? Your mantra of your business in general is convenience and on the go and still looking pulled together. So that's kind of your mantra. So it makes sense that you would now be able to offer us something that we can use to put all those great things in that we're getting from you, and put them all in the bag and be able to go. I think that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. Well, everyone, you know that the Q&A portion is coming up really, really quick in just a minute and a half. But before we go, I want to thank Raquel because I think, again, she's showing us that you can take something that's a need, that's a void in the community, add your own flavor to it, if you will, and have a business that is self-satisfying and at the same time helping others. And I think if you can find that right combination, you've struck gold, in my opinion. And it sounds like Raquel has done just that with Rock Natural Industries. Hair accessories. I want to get that straight. Hair accessories that will help us all look great and help us move through our life a lot faster, ladies, especially. And of course, her makeup services for event planning and so forth. I think you really need to get connected to Raquel. Raquel, one more time, what is your website for those that may have to sign off right now?
Yes, you can reach me at rocknaturalbeauty.com.
Fantastic. RAQ
Yes, RAQ,
naturalbeauty.com. Okay, make sure you get that right, everybody. And yes, for those of you that have to leave us, we're sorry to see you go, but we will be back right here in the Winner's Circle next week with another great guest and more information that's going to keep you on the winning side. So in the meantime, until we see each other again, make sure you stay safe, you stay healthy, most of all, you stay blessed, and we're going to see you here next week.